direct. We are live and direct right here on StreamYard, streaming to YouTube. What's up, my YouTube family, and all those that will hear this on the download and upload to other spaces? It's your favorite icon here coming in to talk a little bit about psychological warfare. We got a clip here that I'm going to be playing. I'm not going to use the whole clip or the whole video because it's 3 hours long, but I want to get into just enough of it to start the conversation off about what mind games are and how does this affect our mental health or lead us down dangerous dark paths into mental illness. So please stick around for that. You know what I'm saying? Let me see something here. Let me get a little bit of my reggae jumping off. Yes, microphone check 1 2. We here and we live. A little bit of my reggae in the background there. So let's get into this first part of this situation here.
Own gaslighter without realizing it. Now hold on. How can someone control your mind using your own mind against you? That's where it gets twisted. A person tells you something didn't happen. You know it did, but they insist, calmly, repeatedly. Maybe they even smile. They ask if you're hurt, like you are being unkind. Now you're the villain for protecting reality. The paradox is that you defend truth and end up feeling cruel for doing it. You tell someone that happened.
Okay, let me try my best to reboot this and start this from the beginning, because I think the first part of whatever was going down wasn't heard. I think I had this whole thing on mute. I'm trying out something with my system today, so please bear with me. We're going to get into this in mind games and mental health, and I want to talk about the whole art of gaslighting from a psychological standpoint, and let some of the more professional engagers and those who are a little bit more expressive in their articulations do based upon research, um, kind of dictate the flow of the content, and then we will add our own personal experiences within inside of that there when it comes to the story that I'm out here um, trying to deliver to the people, and where I'm trying to make sure those of us who are out here trying to live the best that we can don't forfeit our freedom in our life in a system that was designed to cross us up. So y'all stay tuned with me, spread it. Make sure you subscribe. It's for free. Whatever I got going over here at this minimal level, please feel free to come in and enjoy that, whether it's posting that I do on my shorts or things like that. They're over whenever I go live. So let's get into it.
Unknown user. Welcome to the first paradoxes. Let's start with a simple yet mind-bending question. What if the more you trust your own mind, the more likely it is that you're wrong? Gaslighting is the art of breaking reality while pretending it's still whole. It's not just lying, it's lying in a way that makes you question whether the truth was ever real in the first place. And here's the paradox. The better it works, the more invisible it becomes. The more effective the gaslighter, the less you believe they exist. You become your own gaslighter without realizing it. Now hold on. How can someone control your mind using your own mind against you? That's where it gets twisted. A person tells you something didn't happen. You know it did, but they insist, calmly, repeatedly. Maybe they even smile. They ask if you're feeling okay. They ask if you're tired, if you might have mixed things up. Not to harm you. Oh no. They're just concerned. You start to doubt. Just a flicker. But flickers can become fires. Because here's the loop. The more you second guess your memory, the more you look to others for confirmation. And the more you do that, the more power they have over what's real for you. That's the core paradox of gaslighting. The victim begins to doubt not only what's true, but the fact that truth can be known. You no longer argue with the gaslighter, you argue with yourself. The gaslighter can go silent. They've already infected your mind. Now look at this. Gaslighting only works when the victim is sane. If someone truly was irrational, unstable, or delusional, it wouldn't matter what the gaslighter said. But because the victim is clear-headed and logical, they keep trying to make sense of what's happening. They try to reconcile what they saw with what they're being told. In other words, the smarter you are, the more vulnerable you become. That's the paradox. Intelligence doesn't protect you. It helps destroy you faster because your brain starts helping the gaslighter. A lie told once is just a lie, but a lie told again and again, paired with the right tone, a steady gaze, a little feigned concern, becomes something stranger. It becomes doubt. The paradox is that certainty gets weaker the more it's challenged, not by stronger evidence, but by calmer denial. Someone says, "That didn't happen." You say, "Yes, it did." They shake their head gently. "Are you sure?" They ask. You say, "I remember it." They say, "You've been stressed lately, haven't you?" Now you're not defending a memory. You're defending your sanity. Truth is supposed to be strong, but gaslighting shows truth is fragile. You thought truth was hard like steel, but it's soft like smoke. It can be bent and reshaped by nothing more than confidence. That's what makes gaslighting work. It doesn't erase reality. It just asks you to doubt it. That's all it takes. And here's another paradox. The more someone gaslights you, the more you feel guilty. You feel like you're the one doing harm by insisting something happened. You start to apologize. You start to soften your words. You start to say, maybe I misunderstood, even though deep down you didn't. You bend not because you're wrong, but because you're tired. That's the twist. Truth doesn't break with force. It breaks with exhaustion. It gets worse. If someone tells you something false and you catch it, you feel strong. You say, that's not true. But if they respond by acting like they're hurt, like you are being unkind, now you're the villain for protecting reality. The paradox is that you defend truth and end up feeling cruel for doing it. You tell someone, that happened, and they say, why are you being so hostile? Now you're explaining your tone, not the event. The focus has shifted. You're off balance. The truth is buried, not in lies, but in emotions. And here's where it flips entirely. You can start gaslighting yourself without anyone in the room. You walk into a moment of confusion and automatically assume it's your fault. You forget where you place something and instantly think, I'm losing it. You feel upset and immediately tell yourself you're overreacting. Not because it's true, but because that pattern has been carved into your mind. You no longer need the gaslighter. Their voice has become your own. How can something be both invisible and destructive? How can something so simple, denying a fact, cause someone to feel like they're falling apart? That's the gaslighting paradox. The less you notice it, the more it works. The more you resist it, the guiltier you feel. The more you fight it, the more you're blamed. Reality becomes something you can't touch, but are still punished for not understanding. Gaslighting doesn't work with force. It works with softness. Not screaming, but whispering. Not fists, but sighs. And that's what makes it harder to see. We expect deception to come dressed in malice, but gaslighting wears a calm face, a kind tone, a gentle shrug. It pretends to be your friend. It says it's helping you. That's the trick. That's why you let it in. And once it's in, you stop defending the truth. You start defending your mental stability. That's the cruelest part. The paradox is that you no longer care what happened. You just want to believe you're not broken. You abandon truth not because you don't believe in it, but because you're afraid believing in it will isolate you. You give it up to stay connected. You give it up to feel safe. But now think about this. What if they believe their lies too? What if the gaslighter isn't manipulating you consciously? What if they've gaslit themselves? What if their version of reality is so deeply twisted that when they deny the truth, they're not lying? They're confused. Now the paradox deepens. You might be gaslit by someone who's also a victim. The abuser doesn't know they're doing harm. They think they're right. They think you're the one who's slipping. So who do you believe? Them? Yourself? Neither? Gaslighting exposes the instability of truth, not because truth is weak, but because our connection to it is fragile. It shows us that memory isn't solid, that confidence isn't proof, that feeling sure is no guarantee of being right. And in that fragile space, all it takes is a little doubt to bring the whole structure down. It makes you wonder how much of what you know is only because no one has challenged it yet. And if they did, would you still believe it? Would you fight for it? Or would you fold? That's the real paradox. You might never know when you're being gaslit. You might never know when you're gaslighting yourself. And the scariest part is, if it's done right, you won't even think to ask. Welcome to the next paradox. This one is about being loved so much, it ends up not being love at all. Love bombing is when someone showers you with affection, attention, and praise, not to love you, but to own you. It feels like the beginning of a fairy tale, but it's the setup to a trap. And here's the paradox. The more someone gives you, the more they can take away. The more adored you feel, the more hollow you become. You think you're being lifted up, but your feet are slowly being taken off the ground until you're floating, weightless, dependent, and afraid to fall. It begins with intensity, messages, compliments, gifts, time, touch, promises. You feel chosen, special, seen. But the paradox is this: if love is real, it grows slowly. It takes time to understand, to connect, to trust. Love bombing skips all that. It feels fast because it isn't love, it's strategy. You're overwhelmed, not because they know you, but because they don't need to. You're not the
Okay, y'all, I was running an experimental test. I need to get some stuff done to this phone. It's acting a damn donkey. I had a great time here for right now. I want to go back and check out the sound on this here and see how it came down. So I will see y'all next time. Peace.